As the story of 1923 concludes, it's clearer than ever. The Dutton family history is incredibly complex. For a long time, enthusiasts have theorized and mapped out the lineage leading to John Dutton III, the central figure portrayed by Kevin Costner. We might be on the verge of understanding it all, or perhaps we're facing even more questions. Currently, evidence suggests Spencer and Alex's son, named John, could be John Dutton III grandfather, but there's a significant complication. With this theory, if Spencer's son John is indeed the direct ancestor, it means an entire generation is unaccounted for in the timeline. You see, Spencer's son belongs to the third generation of Duttons on the ranch, whereas John Dutton III is definitively part of the fifth generation. This gap raises crucial questions. Who makes up the missing fourth generation? What roles did they play, and what became of them? There's a hidden chapter in the Dutton saga, a vital piece of the puzzle that could unlock the entire family history. Some whispers suggest we might even be looking at the wrong branch entirely. Let's delve back into the history, re-examine the evidence, and trace every known line of this intricate family tree right from its origins. To truly grasp the Dutton legacy and its evolution, we must return to the foundational stories told in the prequels 1883 and 1923. These series provide more than just background. They establish the emotional core and historical roots of the vast Dutton enterprise. Looking closely at this early history, 6 individuals stand out as the founders of the first generation. James and Margaret Dutton, James's brother Jacob and his wife, Cara Dutton, and James's sister Claire, along with her daughter Mary Abel. Let's start with James Dutton, the determined patriarch featured in 1883. A farmer from Tennessee and a veteran of the Civil War, James embarks on a dangerous westward trek, driven by the dream of a better life for his family. His journey transcends the physical. It's a profound exploration of spirit, emotion, and the American dream itself. He leaves behind the known and the safe, seeking freedom and a lasting legacy. Accompanying him are his resilient wife, Margaret, their children, his sister Claire, and his niece, Mary Abel. James embodies the spirit of the pioneer, a symbol of unwavering resilience. Margaret Dutton is equally unforgettable, standing as one of the most formidable matriarchs in the entire Yellowstone narrative. She possesses strength, intelligence, and a fierce devotion to protecting her family. Margaret isn't one to follow orders. She commands respect and leads with determination. She's the type of woman who would face any danger to ensure her loved ones are safe. Her presence is magnetic. 1883 derives much of its power from her character. James and Margaret eventually make their home in the rugged landscape of Montana, but their journey extracts a heavy toll. They suffer the devastating loss of their daughter, Elsa, a moment that remains one of the most poignant in the series. Despite this heartbreak, their legacy endures through their surviving sons, John Sr. and Spencer. Tragedy strikes again in 1893 when James is killed confronting horse thieves. This leaves Margaret alone, tasked with the immense challenge of managing the ranch and raising her sons. Facing overwhelming hardship, she reaches out to James's older brother, Jacob, sending a desperate letter pleading for assistance. Sadly, before Jacob and his wife, Cara, can arrive, Margaret succumbs to the harsh Montana winter, freezing to death. This brings Jacob and Cara Dutton into the story, a couple introduced in 1923 who quickly captured the hearts of viewers. They arrive not merely to take over the ranch, but to uphold and continue the Dutton legacy. Jacob, James's brother, assumes the role of the new patriarch. With Cara steadfastly by his side, the Dutton name perseveres against formidable challenges. Jacob leads with authority, yet it's Cara who provides the family's emotional anchor. She is portrayed as fierce, deeply loyal, and possessing a quiet elegance. A woman of incredible resilience whose heart has weathered profound loss. Though they never had children of their own, Jacob and Cara dedicate themselves to raising James and Margaret's sons, John Sr. and Spencer, treating them as their own flesh and blood, providing love and guidance. Under Jacob's stewardship, the Dutton family's influence grows significantly. He becomes the commissioner of the Montana Livestock Association, a position that solidifies the family's standing and power for future generations. With Cara managing the homestead and Jacob defending their land, they don't just endure the hardships of Montana. they establish a thriving presence. Both Jacob and Kara demonstrate natural leadership qualities. Kara even takes charge of the ranch operations when Jacob is grievously wounded during the first season of 1923. The couple makes immense sacrifices to ensure the land remains within the family. Margaret Dutton is equally unforgettable, standing as one of the most formidable matriarchs in the entire Yellowstone narrative. She possesses strength, intelligence, and a fierce devotion to protecting her family. Margaret isn't one to follow orders. She commands respect and leads with determination. She's the type of woman who would face any danger to ensure her loved ones are safe. Her presence is magnetic. 1883 derives much of its power from her character. James and Margaret eventually make their home in the rugged landscape of Montana. Their journey extracts a heavy toll. They suffer the devastating loss of their daughter, Elsa, a moment that remains one of the most poignant in the series. Despite this heartbreak, their legacy endures through their surviving sons, John Sr. and Spencer. Tragedy strikes again in 1893 when James is killed confronting horse thieves. This leaves Margaret alone, tasked with the immense challenge of managing the ranch and raising her sons. Facing overwhelming hardship, she reaches out to James' older brother Jacob, sending a desperate letter pleading for assistance. Sadly, before Jacob and his wife Kara can arrive, Margaret succumbs to the harsh Montana winter, freezing to death. This brings Jacob and Kara Dutton into the story, a couple introduced in 1923 who quickly captured the hearts of viewers. They arrived not merely to take over the ranch, but to uphold and continue the Dutton legacy. With Kara steadfastly by his side, the Dutton name perseveres against formidable challenges. Jacob leads with authority, yet it's Kara who provides the family's emotional anchor. She is portrayed as fierce, deeply loyal, and possessing a quiet elegance, a woman of incredible resilience whose heart has weathered profound loss. Though they never had children of their own, Jacob and Kara dedicate themselves to raising James and Margaret's sons, John Sr. and Spencer, treating them as their own flesh and blood, providing love and guidance. Under Jacob's stewardship, the Dutton family's influence grows significantly. He becomes the commissioner of the Montana Livestock Association, a position that solidifies the family's standing and power for future generations. With Kara managing the homestead and Jacob defending their land, they don't just endure the hardships of Montana. They establish a thriving presence. Both Jacob and Kara demonstrate natural leadership qualities. Kara even takes charge of the ranch operations when Jacob is grievously wounded during the first season of 1923. The couple makes immense sacrifices to ensure the land remains within the family. Now, let's turn to one of the most heart-wrenching character arcs in 1883, the tragic tale of Claire Dutton. Claire, the sister of James and Jacob Dutton, joins James and his family on their treacherous westward journey. From her first appearance, Claire makes an impression as a sharp-tongued widow, intensely protective of her only child, Mary Abel. She is depicted as proud, somewhat rigid, and devoutly religious, a woman clearly burdened by past grief, desperately holding on to order and control in a chaotic world. As the wagon train ventures further into perilous territory, Claire's carefully maintained sense of stability begins to shatter. The ultimate breaking point arrives during a violent ambush that tragically claims the life of her daughter, Mary Abel. In that horrific instant, Claire loses the last remaining connection to her past, and with it, her will to live. Consumed by overwhelming grief, uncontrollable rage, and utter hopelessness, she makes the devastating decision to end her own life there on the trail, beneath the vast, indifferent sky. That scene is profoundly impactful and lingers long after viewing. Even for viewers who didn't form a strong connection with Claire or Mary Abel earlier in the series, the raw, visceral nature of that moment, the way the camera holds, the ensuing silence, the expression on James's face as he buries his sister is unforgettable. It's a rare television moment that transcends fiction, feeling like witnessing a genuine human breakdown. This exemplifies the emotional depth Taylor Sheridan brings to his storytelling. Even secondary characters can leave lasting emotional scars. An interesting detail for fans who enjoy spotting connections within the Yellowstone universe. Claire Dutton is portrayed by the versatile actress Dawn Olivier. She later reappears in the main Yellowstone series, taking on the role of the shrewd and dangerous Sarah Atwood. character who poses a significant threat to the Dutton Empire from within. It's a testament to Oliveri's range, transitioning from a grieving pioneer mother to a sophisticated corporate adversary. With Claire's story concluded, we move forward to the second generation of the Dutton family, where sorrow isn't forgotten but becomes an inherited burden. In the narrative of 1923, Spencer Dutton emerges as a central figure amidst the turmoil, violence, and heartache. He embodies the series' hero, a rugged individual haunted by the traumas of war, perpetually trying to escape the ghosts of his experiences. After enduring the horrors of World War I, Spencer seeks refuge and isolation in Africa. There he hunts dangerous game, not merely for sustenance, but as a way to quell the internal tempest raging within him. It is in this wild, untamed environment that he encounters Alexandra, a daring and passionate British aristocrat who finds herself drawn to the tormented soul beneath the hunter's exterior. Their love story unfolds with the intensity and inevitability of fate. It's a passionate, rapid romance that endures incredible challenges, including encounters with rogue elephants, surviving a shipwreck, and confronting the harsh realities of fate itself. Just as they begin to envision a shared future, a critical message arrives from Montana. Spencer's aunt, Kara Dutton, sends a desperate plea for his return. The Yellowstone ranch is facing threats, and the family is fracturing in his absence. Faced with this urgent call, Spencer and Alexandra make a difficult choice. They leave their African paradise behind and prepare to face the conflict awaiting them in Montana. However, fate intervenes once more with cruel timing. During their journey home, Spencer and Alex are forcibly separated. Stranded apart, they vow to find each other again in Bozeman. The second season of 1923 chronicles their harrowing, parallel journeys, paths fraught with danger, heartbreak, and sheer desperation. Each episode masterfully weaves emotional storytelling, making the audience feel every mile of their separation, every moment of their struggle. When they finally reunite, the moment is charged with emotion. It feels like a victory, a testament to the possibility that love might conquer adversity. Yet, in keeping with Taylor Sheridan's often brutal narrative style, this hope is short-lived. Shortly after Alex gives birth to their son, she dies tragically. This loss resonates deeply, hitting harder than anticipated. Spencer, once again finding himself broken and alone, never remarries. While he eventually has another son with a widow later in life, it's evident that his heart remained with Alex. In 1969, Spencer passes away at his wife's gravesite, bringing his tumultuous life story to a poignant, heartbreaking close. To this day, many fans feel a sense of injustice about their story. Spencer and Alex endured so much, only to be denied the peaceful life they fought so hard to attain. Now we transition to the third generation, where the intricate threads of the Dutton family legacy become even more complex and interwoven. Let's focus on Jack and Elizabeth Dutton. Jack is the son of John Sr., and Emma Dutton, John's surviving son of James and Margaret. We meet Jack in 1923 as a young, capable cowboy, handsome, courageous, and deeply devoted to his family and his fiancée, Elizabeth. Jack seems destined to carry the Dutton name forward with honor. He marries Elizabeth, a woman depicted as strong-willed and loving, who quickly demonstrates she possesses the same resilience characteristic of the Duttons. Their early marriage is filled with optimism and hope. Even after Elizabeth experiences the profound grief of a miscarriage, she finds the inner strength to hope again. Eventually, she becomes pregnant once more, and for a fleeting period, the future of the Dutton lineage appears secure. However, tragedy, an ever-present shadow over the Duttons, strikes yet again. Jack is killed, leaving Elizabeth widowed, pregnant, and utterly alone at a young age. Devastated and grieving, she makes the difficult decision to leave the Yellowstone ranch and return to her family in Boston. Case and Monica share a profound emotional connection, though their bond is frequently tested by tragedy and external pressures. Their love story provides a quieter, though no less powerful, counterpoint to the chaotic energy of Beth and Rip's relationship. They have a son, Tate, depicted as a bright and sensitive boy who represents a potential hope for a different kind of future for the Dutton line. Case and Monica's journey, however, has been marked by significant sorrow. In season 5, they endure another devastating loss when Monica loses their unborn child in a tragic car accident mere moments away from reaching the hospital. The depiction of their pain is raw, their grief palpable, another heavy blow for a family that seems perpetually caught in a cycle of hardship and loss. Their narrative arc is also slated to continue in a dedicated spin-off, promising further exploration of their struggles with pain, healing, and the enduring weight of the Dutton legacy. We must also remember Lee Dutton, the eldest of John Dutton, 3 children, and his firstborn son. Positioned as the heir apparent, loyal to the ranch, and seemingly prepared to take over the family empire, Lee's life is cut tragically short early in the Yellowstone series. He is killed during a violent confrontation related to a dispute with the Broken Rock Reservation. His death serves as the initial catalyst, the spark that ignites the long-burning firestorm of conflict central to the Yellowstone plot. Although he is gone, Lee's absence profoundly impacts the remaining family members and the overall trajectory of the story. And finally, we address Jamie Dutton. Despite the animosity he evokes, his role is crucial to the narrative. Adopted as an infant by John and Evelyn Dutton, Jamie was raised entirely as one of their own, groomed for success, educated to become a lawyer and politician, and initially entrusted with significant family responsibilities. However, the revelation of his biological father's identity, a man who had murdered Jamie's biological mother, causes something within him to fracture. He becomes increasingly bitter, struggles with a profound identity crisis, and develops an insatiable hunger for power and validation independent of the Dutton name. Falling under the manipulative influence of Sarah Atwood, he ultimately betrays the only family he has ever known, orchestrating his adoptive father's murder. His downfall is portrayed almost poetically, consumed by ambition, ostracized for his disloyalty, and ultimately meeting his end at the hands of Beth, the sister who perhaps always sensed he didn't truly belong. Though Jamie is now removed from the picture, the consequences of his betrayal will undoubtedly cast a long shadow over the Dutton name and legacy for years to come. Now we arrive at the potential 7th generation, starting with Carter. His situation is somewhat ambiguous. While taken in by Beth and Rip, his exact status within the family structure remains unclear. He has certainly endured hardship, and his relationship with Beth and Rip is often portrayed with a degree of awkwardness. It seems they care for him and want him around, but whether he has been formally adopted or fully integrated into the family unit is uncertain. The upcoming spinoff featuring Beth and Rip will likely shed more light on Carter's role. We'll see if he is treated as a son or primarily as a ranch hand they've brought along. Then there's James Dutton Jr., the son Jamie had with his former campaign manager, Christina. His inclusion is debatable, as many fans dispute whether Jamie, and therefore his son, should even be considered part of the Dutton lineage after Jamie's betrayal. It seems unlikely we will see James Jr. again in the main storyline, but the possibility exists. Could he potentially interact with Tate later in life, perhaps creating new dynamics or conflicts? Finally, we have Tate Dutton, Case, and Monica. As the youngest member directly descended from the original Yellowstone Dutton line shown in the main series, Tate represents the most direct continuation of the original family legacy. While his own story is still unfolding, he symbolically carries the immense weight of the ranching empire on his young shoulders. A legacy marked by violence, betrayal, and profound loss. From his earliest appearances, the burden of the Dutton name and the expectations associated with it are palpable. The central question surrounding Tate is what his future holds. Will he eventually rise to defend and reclaim the land his family fought so fiercely to protect? Or will the ongoing, deeply entrenched conflict between the Duttons and the neighboring reservations ultimately leave him with nothing but broken dreams and inherited trauma? We have watched Tate grow, but the full trajectory of his destiny remains unknown. As the narrative progresses, the fight for the ranch and the surrounding land is certain to escalate. Will Tate be the one to finally bridge the divide, bringing some measure of peace to the seemingly endless conflict? Can he reconcile his family's tumultuous past with the possibility of a different future for himself? Or will the heavy weight of history ultimately crush him, as it has so many Duttons before him? While reclaiming the entirety of the original ranch land from the reservation seems like a challenging prospect, given the current narrative direction, one thing is certain: Tate's journey is far from complete. More answers are expected as his story develops, particularly within the context of the upcoming spin-off focusing on his parents, Monica and Case. What kind of man will Tate grow into? Will he emulate the protector archetype of his ancestors? Or will he carve out a unique path, defying the anticipation?